Yo, we are back. Rocking a cringy shirt. Look at this. Look at this.
What is that?
Hell yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Crampions is almost to early access. You can relax. You can stop asking the same question on all of my comments across all of my social media channels. It's coming on April 1st, 2023. That's right. 4 years after the reveal trailer, 3 years after the gameplay trailer, and 5 years after Crab Rave itself. It'll be $10 early access on Steam. So if that's all you want to know, then hey, like the video, subscribe, and get the f out of here. But if you're interested in some updates on the beta, how it's been going, and what to expect for early access, then stick around because we've got a lot of juicy details. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, and we have a lot to catch up on. Beta Weekend 1. It hit the ground running, and it is running fast. Dare I say sprinting. The game runs well. There were minimal issues. Game-breaking bugs, 0. Game-crashing bugs, a couple. They were easily hotfixed out immediately. And the game is addicting. It lives up to the hype. There's lots of nitty-gritty details that I'm going to skip over. If you want to read them, Discord link is in the description. Go check it out. There will be a channel with all the beta updates, and you will be able to read it, hopefully, I think. I don't know. Beta Weekend 2, this is January 13th. He added a new Rush Island type. You kill a bunch of grunt enemies, and then a champion spawns. They've got a skull over their head, and you got to kill them in order to move on. We also got a new weapon, the minigun, which to this day, dare I say, best weapon in the game. It's kind of not even close. Beta Weekend 3, January 20th, 2023. We got an update to the volcanic biome islands. They are no longer just tropical islands, kind of reskinned with lava instead of water and made, nighttime with a red hue. They are now their own islands. We also get another new weapon, the blade launcher. And again, it's a really good weapon. Top 5 for sure in my opinion. And I will be doing a full weapon tier list review breakdown kind of thing in the future. So be on the lookout for that. Love seeing the volcanic biome get fleshed out. The tweaks, the balances, they felt good. Beta Weekend 4, January 27th. We get some more melee related perks and items. We have some updated sound effects for things like meleeing, interacting with totems and shop items, salvaging, etc. There's a little bit of an overtuned build going on here. The difficulty of those Rush Islands was starting to get pretty brutal, so we tuned those down a little bit, and just in general, yeah, good quality of life stuff. Let's move into Beta Weekend 5. This is early February 3rd. New island type. Again, we get Parkour Islands. This is the spiritual successor of Racing Mode that we all know and love from the gameplay trailer, and we all know wasn't actually going to be in the game. As you can see, you're kind of just jumping around, parkouring your way through the area, through the island layout, lots of floating platforms, and you're going really fast, and there's bananas for some reason. I don't know why, but it is pretty funny and a good change of pace.
Parkour!
There's also a new UI feed on the right side of the screen here, where if certain things are procced or certain effects happen, for example, you get some close range kills, and you have a perk that levels up your max damage as you get close range kills, it shows it right there. Moving on to Beta Weekend 6, this is February 10th. Large fundamental shift in the inventory system. Originally, we had 10 weapon mod slots, 10 grenade mods, and 24 perk slots maybe. Now, you have up to 24 of each one, but you only start off with 4 unlocked for free. And then you can purchase others for crystals, and they're progressively more expensive. Not only does it allow you to dive a lot deeper into weapon and grenade mods, but it also limits you a little bit. And another big change that a lot of people are happy with, the pump shotgun and regular pistol are now dual wield, but you can't aim and you don't get the bullet time. And the bullet time slow-mo effect is very, very helpful, especially during some boss fights, just avoiding projectiles and trying to get those flawless rewards. They also altered the way that melee works. You can't melee through the ground, through rocks, through barriers in general. You have to have line of sight. So this is technically a nerf, but it makes sense. It keeps you honest. You can't just cheese it outside, hide behind a rock and melee through it. Another large and pretty much the last change here this weekend was anti-camping measures, and I can't help but feel like I am at fault for this because I definitely camped and hid a lot in the first few weekends of the build. If you sit in one spot for more than like 5 seconds, every enemy just kind of lunges to your position. They just gain a super jump ability. It's so annoying, but it works. It keeps you moving. You cannot camp. Moving on to Beta Weekend 7, February 17th. New cluster launcher weapon. This one is a fan favorite, although it's not necessarily the best weapon, but it is a fantastic co-op crowd control AoE type weapon. We also get new Arctic biome island layouts entirely, completely new ones, as well as the addition of some shrubs and trees in the same style as the ones from Tropical. And I don't know why it makes such a big difference, but it makes a huge difference in a good way. It just looks so much better. All of these island layouts are fantastic now. Certain loot duplicates and items would not appear anymore unless you had kind of a required piece of loot, which makes sense. It's kind of annoying to open up a chest, see a bunch of ice-related perks, and you're like, yo, I do not have ice. I don't need these. It's a waste. So another big change here is the inventory system going from 4 automatically unlocked slots to 8. Week 8, February 25th. I believe this is when it turned into week and not just weekend. I know I've used the word week and weekend kind of interchangeably, but this is the one where he thought it was going to be the final one. Turned out it's not at all, and he just left the beta open. But anyway, he removed Rush Islands entirely, which we're like, whoa, what's up with that? Well, it turns out they were getting a little bit too tedious. Remember, you have to kill the grunt enemies and then the champion, but once you kill enough grunt enemies, the champion spawns, and grunts keep spawning. And it just turned into a projectile bullet hell, and very hard to focus on the champion and actually take him out. So we're to a point now where, you know what, let's scrap it, rework the idea. And he did, because he also added an arena island type. And the arenas are a lot more streamlined. It's 2 quick waves, a weak wave and then a stronger wave with champion type enemies. Not necessarily too overpowered, but you know, kill a couple grunts and then you take on some strong enemies. If you remember last weekend and older footage, here you go. It's kind of cramped. There's 12 weapons now, and they don't fit. Now, it's a big wide open area, more rounded. There's 2 target dummies now, and it just feels alive. It feels better, and there's other areas in the back that are clearly going to be built out for like target practice and parkour and other fun stuff. So, you know, small little change, but it just made a huge difference. Week 9, March 3rd, he recreated all of the arena island layouts. They were all new, and now they're all new again. Even smaller, even more tight-knit, even more focused on those quick 2 rounds of action. We also got some new enemies, chaotic grubs and irate grubs, and for some reason, he thought that grubs needed to be more annoying, so now they are way more annoying. But hey, more variety keeps you on your feet. And one final big thing here that was pretty controversial when looking back at it in hindsight is he changed the way that Flawless works. So in the past, Flawless, you didn't take any damage. You didn't get hit. You got a second reward chest. If you're supposed to get 1 rare chest, you now got 2. He changed that. It now upgrades the rarity of the chest. So instead of a second rare chest, you would change that chest from rare to epic. Still a great reward. That being said, he did downgrade the base level chest for all arena islands from rare to common. And common only had health, crystals, or armor. So going into week 10, he kind of backtracked on that one because he saw that Flawless is kind of not where it needs to be, even in the old system. So he's decided Flawless by default doesn't really matter. But this change that I'm about to speak on for week 10, March 15th, is the largest change to date. He reworked all of the portals. You can now choose Portal A or Portal B on every single island except your boss fight and your shops. Portal A will tell you the type of loot you're getting. Portal B will have a different option. So you can really decide, hey, I really want to go down X, Y, or Z build, or any of the other types of builds, right? It's not just X, Y, or Z. It's A through Z. There's plenty of viable builds. And then on top of that, there's challenge modifiers and blessings. They're both kind of the same thing. They just add an additional thing that happens, and you might get a double reward chest or something like that, which also means the challenge islands as a whole are gone. So we now just have arena islands and horde islands, and then they can be regular or they can have a modifier on them. Now you may be asking, where the hell did parkour go? Apparently it was bugged. It'll come back in the future for sure, but for the time being, it is out of the game. Perk totem completely removed. It is also a little bit harder to find hearts in general, and he reworked the shops a tiny bit so that, remember, you had the reroll totem all the way on the left, then you had a heart, then you had a couple items. Now the heart is not guaranteed to be there. It can obviously show up in the loot pool, but it's not there 100% of the time, so hearts are more rare. If you take the overall change, a couple good things that people like, a couple things that people don't like, and we look at the holistic change, the end net result of all of that is that the game is more fun. You know, there's less RNG, or it's a more structured RNG, and diehard roguelike fans are probably not going to be super happy with that, but I love it. I personally love this build, played it a handful of times, both single player and co-op, and it's not an issue. That is where we are today, and we know that there's going to be a hot fix, maybe 2, coming throughout this week, but this is indeed the last beta week. What should we all expect for early access moving forward? You can buy this game. You, yes you, assuming you are on PC. It's only coming to Steam initially, $10. Will it come to console? Yes, eventually, 100%. We have confirmation that he's played it on console and he had a build going at one point for Switch. For the time being, his strategy is to develop it on PC, get it to a good point, and then just port it over quickly instead of having 4, 5, 6 builds going at the same time at this current stage of the game. The game is extremely easy to run. While we're on that topic, it's still 1.3 gigabytes. It still runs on potatoes. People with their laptops that were used for high school notes have been able to run the game. Not well, you know, it's not, you're not going to be pumping out 900 frames per second, but it can run. We're going to see monthly, maybe even 2 to 3 month intervals for big updates, especially if he takes on more aggressive changes, adding significant things like an entire new biome or whatever it might be. Believe it or not, a lot of this stuff is placeholder. A lot of these things will be better. Sounds, visual effects, animations, skins. I mean, all the skins and weapon skins don't even work yet. Weapon skins will be the game. The skins were placeholders. Those are going to be fixed, or not fixed, but updated, right? What's next? Well, expansion. So we have the core gameplay loop. What's next? Well, more variety of island layouts per biome so that it's a little bit less repetitive. It's not repetitive, by the way, but it'll be less repetitive with this. More enemies. We already got more enemies, but there will be more enemies both in the variants of the current enemies and just new enemy types entirely. More weapons, naturally. I mean, he's not trying to build out a Battlefield 3 level arsenal, but he is going to add more weapons eventually. And just to wrap this all up, the beta's been an incredible experience. I'm lucky enough, I literally got the first beta key and I've been playing very frequently ever since. I'm approaching 200 freaking hours in 2.5 months of gameplay so far, which is incredible, especially given that this is a small indie game that he has openly said that he only expected people to play for, you know, couple hours, you know, here and there, and we're really lucky that he's been so open with his communication. I mean, indie studios are in general really good at this, but I mean, he's in the Discord daily speaking to the community, answering questions, taking our feedback into account, because a lot of the development changes that have happened, especially towards the end, have been direct results of people's feedback. As always, if you want to follow this game, I'm kind of the guy for it right now. Like the video, subscribe, stay up to date on this game, because we're going to keep pumping out amazing content following the development process. We're getting so close to early access, and I'm so excited for you guys all to be able to experience this game. It's by far and above one of my favorite games ever made at this point. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I will see you guys later. And I never know how to end these videos, so I'm going to come up and then realize that my mouse is all the way over here and try to keep eye contact with the camera, but I'm not looking at the camera, and then I'm going to stop recording and see ya!